What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Neeks Sports, and this time we're talking transfer news regarding Liverpool and Chelsea. TIMO Werner from RB Leipzig, and there's been a twist in the story. Yes, guys, as the last video we did on TIMO Werner, the talk was that Liverpool wanted to delay the purchase of TIMO Werner. They had agreed. Klopp had spoken to him directly, and they had agreed verbally a fee, personal contract, personal details between the player, wages of around 140, 150,000 a week, which is about, what, 3 times what he's earning at the moment. I think he's on about 60,000 a week. And the issue that was holding up and why they wanted to delay it was the price that RB Leipzig had set for him, and that was his release clause. The release clause, which is 60 million euros, which is about 50 million pounds. And Liverpool weren't willing to pay it. They obviously, we know there's been a financial impact around COVID and the loss of money or loss of revenue, and more potential loss of revenue that clubs will suffer, and Liverpool are unsure how it will impact them financially this whole period, and they wanted to, I guess, save money where they could. And knowing that Timo Werner was so desperate to join up with Klopp and Liverpool, you would think the ball was in their court. We'd heard, in a few weeks after, maybe a few days, that Man United and Chelsea were interested, but it was Liverpool. Liverpool were the front runners, and it would be a case of them agreeing a fee with RB Leipzig. His release clause runs out, I believe it's in the next 10 to 15 days, probably a bit less now, but between 10 and 15 days. And that's when it had to be activated. After that, it will be completely down to negotiations between the club and Liverpool. Were hoping that due to this whole Corona and COVID and lockdown and the suspension of European football and global football at that they could get a reduced price. The market is likely to shift downwards because the clubs haven't got the money. We heard Ed Woodward and Solskjaer both speaking in recent weeks about how it will affect Man United financially, and if it's going to affect Manchester United, one of the biggest club in England, one of the richest clubs in the world, top two, top three, it's going to affect them. It's going to affect everyone. So that's saying something. Now, Liverpool, knowing that, obviously are going to want to cut costs where they can, and I think, as far as I'm aware, they were looking to agree a fee of nearer 30 million. Leipzig were unwilling to agree that before his release clause, i.e. opening the door for anyone to meet that release clause, including Liverpool, of course, if they wanted to, and agree personal terms with Timo Werner. Man United, as I said, were in for him, or they were interested back in February, I believe, and he had said that he wants to join Liverpool, and we never made a bid since then. But of course, the interest, I'm sure, would have remained because he's a quality striker. Even just today, he was had a hand in Leipzig's goal in their 1-1 draw in the Bundesliga. But Chelsea do what Chelsea always do, and they have what looks like hijacked this deal right from under Liverpool's nose. Now, Liverpool fans are going to come and say, oh, well, we didn't meet the fee. You're right. But you didn't pull out the race. You didn't stop wanting him. You were waiting for the deadline, the release clause to drop, a bit more knowledge about where the market's at, and hoping that Leipzig would agree a lower fee in the coming weeks. Chelsea's come in under your nose and said, here's the money, Leipzig. Timo Werner, let's talk. If that's not a hijacking, I don't know what is. But as I said, this is what Chelsea do. And I mean, I respect it because it's got them success. But it's a dirty game. It's a dirty game. They let other clubs do all the groundwork, and seeing the player wants to come into the league, etc., etc. A fee. Let the clubs do, another club do the negotiating about a fee. Chelsea get wind of what the amount is. They come, put on the table, especially under Abramovich, offer more money, and the player's head is turned. The player's willing to join them. Now, Timo Werner, of course, he expressed that he wants to join the Premier League. Liverpool is his first choice, but he would not turn down other options around the big clubs in the Premier League. And Chelsea are definitely one of those big clubs in the Premier League, obviously currently sitting in 4th place in the league, in the Champions League. Of course, we know they're going to go out to Bayern Munich, but in the race for Champions League football next year. So it's a prospect that I'm sure he's willing to get behind. And as I said, he's on about 55, 60 million a week. Chelsea are willing to offer him just under 200,000 a week. I say willing to offer, they have offered him. The deal is on the table. The deal is there to be done. It's nearly done. According to very, very good sources, the deal is just a matter of weeks away, and I think, or maybe even less. But I think the only thing that could stop this deal is if Liverpool said, you know what, we're going to pay the money. But it doesn't look like it because, maybe Liverpool's big spending in recent summers, the likes of Fabinho, Naby Keita, Virgil van Dijk, Alisson, don't let anyone tell you Liverpool ain't spent money. They have. We know they sold Coutinho, but they still spent money. Maybe that has, I'm not going to say caught up with them, but it's just reduced what they've been able to do. They didn't buy anyone last year. So the fact that 20 million is 20 million. But the fact that they are willing to lose out on this player over 20 million, following on the fact they didn't sign anyone last year, I'm surprised. I am surprised, I'm not going to lie. I think, yes, he might not be an automatic starter, but he's a very good player that can play across the front, free, he can play in a 2 up front, or he can play as a lone striker through the middle. And I think it's a player that Liverpool, even if he's not first choice initially, will grow into becoming an important and integral part of their front line and possibly replacing one of the front three in future seasons as they get a bit older and he gets better and more experienced. But right now he's banging in goals. And goals is a currency, one that many teams have struggled for. Chelsea, for one, have struggled. Lampard has spoken expeditionally about their lack of goals. We know that we're in for a few strikers in the January transfer window, Igalo being one of them. He just wanted goals. He made that clear to the board, and the board are now backing him to the tune of the release clause, which is about £49 million, 60 million euros, and wages of around 190,000 a week. And I think that could be a very, very good transfer for Chelsea, in addition to Hakim Ziyech being purchased from Ajax for the start of next season. And we know that he will go right into the Chelsea team. Ain't a case of fighting for position. Of course, form dictates it all, but he will be first choice. Chelsea fans have been bigging up Tammy Abraham, and I like Tammy. Tammy's a talented kid, but he ain't on Timo Werner's level. He really isn't. He's got a decent goal scoring record this season, 14 goals in the league. A lot of those came in the first few months of the Premier League, and after that it's been a bit, one here and a bit of a drought, another one there. So they need more options. Tammy, for me, will be a very good backup. If Lampard wanted to go 2 up front, which I don't think will be his preferred choice, his usual choice, it will be 1 through the middle. But if he wanted to, Timo Werner has shown that he can play in a 2, which he does at Leipzig and which he's done at Leipzig. So the options are there. I think, as I said, he'll go straight into that Chelsea team. He'll give them what they've been missing, especially at home against some of the weaker sides. You think they just need goals. Everything else is fine against those weaker sides. They just need goals. And he can offer that. But Liverpool, man, Liverpool are the best side in the country at the moment. Best side in the world at the moment. But you have to remain there. You have to, and to remain there, you have to keep strengthening. There's a reason why only 3 teams now, finally 3 teams, have won Premier League back-to-back. Manchester United, Chelsea, and Man City. And Man City did it at the 3rd time of asking. Of course, 2012 and 2015. 2014. They didn't retain it the year after, and they finally did it last year under Pep Guardiola. But what you have to do is keep strengthening, and we saw this summer, the summer gone, they didn't strengthen in the positions they needed, and Liverpool have run away with the league this year. In previous campaigns, it's been a similar story. I remember after 2012, Mancini wanted Van Persie. Van Persie chose red over blue. Thank God he did, and he was one of the big differences between us, finishing runners-up on goal difference the year before versus winning the Premier League at Cantor. You have to keep strengthening. If Liverpool don't get, I would say, and it's not about a marquee sign in terms of name, but in terms of quality, then they may suffer a similar fate that Man City suffered this year. No, the gap might not be as big, but you need to go again. You need to strengthen, because every other club in Europe is going to strengthen. Manchester United, Chelsea, Man City for sure are going to strengthen this summer. Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, these clubs are all going to strengthen. You cannot afford to stand still, because by standing still, you're actually going backwards. You're actually going backwards. So this will be a massive, massive blow to Liverpool fans, the club, Jurgen Klopp. And, I'm not going to say you have to put any blame, because, business is important in football, being able to balance the book and run the club self-sufficiently. But you have to look at FSG and the owners and why they're not willing to sanction the extra funds to make this a viability, or just make this transfer a reality. Now, maybe they could sell some players. We've heard some news today that a few players like Shaqiri, Origi, etc. could be sold. Is that to raise the funds to make that big signing? Are they going to come in late to actually match the price of Chelsea's bid for TIMO Werner? I feel that TIMO Werner would accept less at Liverpool than he would accept more at Chelsea, because he wants to play under Klopp. He wants to play for Liverpool. But if you don't agree with the clubs, then it's all verbal and it's subject to, as I said, gazumping. And Chelsea do it. Chelsea's done it with Robben. He was supposed to come to Manchester United. Essien, he was supposed to come to Manchester United. Mikel, he did come to Manchester United. And in the end, we had to sell him on to Chelsea without him kicking a ball. Willian, that was a crazy one, where he was at the Spurs training ground for his medical and made a quick dash across London to go West London and sign for Chelsea. Like, this is what Chelsea do. I've heard Mata, Malouda, apparently those were transfers that were supposed to go elsewhere. Jorginho was supposed to join Man City, and Chelsea came in last minute with a bigger offer and he joined. And the law of London cannot be dismissed, living in the capital city for a foreigner. So they've done it again. They have done it again. So we have to see. We have to see if Liverpool come back again, or they have their sights set on another target. But I just have to say and repeat, to remain at the top, you have to strengthen, or by standing still, you're effectively going backwards. Guys, let me know in the comments below your thoughts on this transfer saga. Is it a massive, massive blow for Liverpool, or is it just one of those things and it's not really going to affect them going forward? And how will TIMO Werner improve, if so, Chelsea and Frank Lampard's team going forward? Hit the like and subscribe button. Follow us on all the social medias, and I will see you soon.